Once again, the Autosportradio.com 2020 show is coming to you from the Grant King Race Shops. And when things are open and they open again, you want to come down here because it's completely changed, completely different. Different cars. It's really something to see. So when you get a chance, come on down. Today's show is presented by Honda and Honda HPD, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the NTT IndyCar Series, SVRA, and McGilvery's Pub and Speedway. Founded in 1993 to spearhead Honda's entry into IndyCar racing, Honda Performance Development has overseen successful racing efforts at all levels of the sport, from karting and quarter midgets to IndyCar and prototype sports cars. HPD offers race engines and competition products for professional, amateur, and entry-level racers. For more information about HPD and the company's racing product lines, please visit hpd.honda.com. Do you have computer problems? I certainly can answer that question. Yes, I do. We have a new computer company, the A+ Affordable Computer Doctor. He's like the old-time doctor. He can make house calls. So call Steve Freeze, tell him your problem. If necessary, he can come to you. The number is 317-328-0766. And you're thinking about, I got to go see my favorite doctor's appointment, the dentist. Go to the best. Go to the Indy Dental Group and see Dr. Jack Miller and Dr. Liz Lewis. Dr. Jack, of course, is an Indy 500 veteran. They have a phenomenal practice, a top-rated practice in the state. So give them a call, make an appointment. Number is 317-826-6125. And I must, as always, thank Speedway Cable TV to Community Cable Television for their help in the technology and editing of our performances here. Have you ever wondered, geez, why do these people want to take their life in their hands and drive an IndyCar? Well, there's a way to find out. You can take a ride yourself in the Indy Racing Experience 2-seater. Check it out. Go to indyracingexperience.com and find a date that will work for you. And in the promo box, put DK1, you get a 50% discount. Or you can call Shonda in the office. The number is 317-243-7171. And if it's time for you to up your insurance or renew your insurance for your home, your car, or your commercial property, do what most of us have done. Call Mike Pardee at VP Insurance. They're located at 5004 West 16th Street, so he's easy to find, and he'll help you. He'll give you better coverage for less money. I can tell you that because he's done it for me. 317-248-0070. Talk to Mike, tell him what you need. I guarantee he'll help you. The best magazine for vintage cars and Trans Am, and soon to be the pro division of the SCCA, is Speed Tour magazine. It's a great magazine, great stories, great pictures, and you'll find some of the cars that you knew as a kid, and some of the drivers, believe it or not, they may both be on the track running today with SVRA. So go to svra.com and click on to Speed Tour and subscribe. It's a great magazine. You'll love it. And while you're there, check the schedule. Click on the schedule link and see what their upcoming events are. If you're anywhere in the area, I highly recommend you go. If you want a vintage car or you've got one and need it restored, the Grant King Shop's a place to go. They can help you out restoring your car. And if you're looking to buy one, they can help you there too. Plus, if you want to come down and check out the shop, you need to call ahead of time, make sure they're going to be here because they have several other operations they take care of. But give them a call. The number is 317-820-3595. My guest today is a gentleman that I've known, 25, 30 years, I guess. He has stayed the same, and I have gotten older. I don't quite understand that, but that's what's happened. He's been in motorsports for many years, a graduate of Ball State University. He at one time worked for NHRA, the IndyCar Series, and ICMS Radio Network. He's been involved in safety for quite a number of years and was just named Executive Director of the International Council of Motorsport Sciences. Please welcome my friend, Tom Weisenbach. How you doing, Tom?
DK, I'm doing great. Thanks for the opportunity to join you again this week.
Well, it's always a pleasure to talk to you because you've always got something interesting that people see the results of, but they don't realize how the heck it got there. And you're the guy behind that makes things happen in the world of safety.
Yeah, it's looking forward to this opportunity. It's a heck of a group.
What you graduated from Ball State, and I can't imagine going there that you said to yourself, I'm going to follow David Letterman into entertainment.
Right.
But you ended up in motorsport. Did you want to get to motorsports, or did you just happen to find it?
Actually, I wanted to host my own online radio TV show like you. Uh, and But no, I literally was working in hockey and had a sports marketing headhunter contact me when I was living down in Fort Worth for a couple of years, and had a chance to come back home to Indiana and go work at IRP. And so that was my first venture into motorsports, out at Indianapolis Raceway Park, America's great race place, and with the NHRA. And that's, for me, it's taken off from there, and it was a great place to start. And again, never thought I'd end up where I am, but 25 years later, this is what we're doing.
How in the world did you get to hockey? Now, when people talk about hockey, you would never think they play hockey in Texas. It's hotter than hell down there.
Yeah, it's I was with the Indianapolis Ice, the Chicago Blackhawks Farm Club
Right.
in Indianapolis, and
Right.
Horn Chin, who owned that organization, owned the whole Central Hockey League. And he says, "Hey, Ray Compton's not going anywhere here in Indy. If you want to be GM, you got to move." So I said, "Where am I moving to?" And my wife and I ended up moving down to Texas for a couple of years.
You weren't involved with the ice when Wayne Gretzky was here, were you?
No, I'm not that old.
But you got the opportunity to get involved in motorsports, as you said, with IRP. In fact, that's where I think I met you first, was out there. I remember being hollered at for being in the wrong place when I shouldn't be, but that's been going on for the last 60 years that I've been involved in sport. What did you do at IRP?
I started at IRP actually as Director of Business Development. And really for me, I joined a great leader. Mike Lewis was our general manager and became a mentor to me. And Mike was great. He was hands off. He said, "Let's think outside the box of how we can generate more revenue, but go do your thing." And we really took revenue up there, and within 2 years we had increased it by about 200%. And we were doing over $500,000 a year in sponsorship just off of our NASCAR weekend. So again, cut my teeth in racing at a great facility that had 3 racetracks to work with. And it really, some core events are the U.S. Nationals, obviously, but then again, obviously the NASCAR weekend with Silver Crown Truck Series and Busch Series. It was a dream job. 9 races on ESPN. It was a great place to launch my motorsports career.
What did you do when you came to the Speedway and to IndyCar? What was your position there?
I'd been friends with a gentleman named John Kessler for years, and John is a longtime Indianapolis area media sales guy. Had been at MS Broadcasting for years, working for Jeff Smulyan. He had been hired by the Motor Speedway as their director or vice president of sales, and he was looking to build a sales team out. And contacted me and said, "Hey, what do you think about leaving the little track and coming to the big track?" I said, "You know what? That's a dream opportunity. I think for any young person who's involved in motorsports or sales to have a chance to go to IMS and IndyCar and sell those properties, it was a dream come true." So I jumped at the opportunity to join John's staff over at the Motor Speedway and was the national sales manager. So Firestone was my account, Infinity, Tag Heuer, Marlies Lacroix, the Swiss watch company. So I was able to work with all of those, and a lot of fun. And again, a great place to obviously take my career to a whole new level.
Obviously, this new position as the executive director, your sales ability will help there, because from what I understand, you are a massive staff of one.
Yeah.
So if somebody says, we're a little short on money, if you want to get paid, we got to go out and get some sponsors. You know how to do that. Is that part of your job as well? Or will it be?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you nailed it, Don. If I want to eat, I gotta hustle. It is a membership-based organization, very similar to what the Indiana Motorsports Association was when I ran that for 8 years. It also touches another, I think, passion I had. That was the Motorsports Safety Education Foundation, which I launched with Murph McKinney and Al Lowe and Mike Long. The 4 of us created that. And with the ICMS, it is a membership-based organization that hosts an annual Congress, which, Don, really for that, it's a chance for a lot of the members to get their CEs, continuing education credits, or CMEs, continuing medical education. So the doctors, the nurses, the scientists, the engineers that are all members are always looking to get those extra education credits on an annual basis. We worked with the University of Texas Medical Board and they are our accreditation partner. And so literally people are able to get those continuing education credits by attending the annual Congress. I think what I'd like to see us do, though, is really expand our offerings to our members. I think that's how we're going to get more members and keep the ones we have, is do more for them. And you know, this organization's been around since 1988. Obviously, they've done something right. But at the end of the day, I think in today's world with this pandemic, we're going to have to do even more. And so we're going to kick off a seminar series, a quarterly event in 2021, each quarter. All four of them, we're going to have an extra speaker. We'll do a Zoom session just like this, because we have members all over the world. And I think that's a really neat thing, is we have members in Australia and in Canada, over in Germany, Italy. They're all over. And so for us as an international body, we need to provide more of an international, opportunity. And with the technology we have today with Zoom and all the other platforms, we'll be able to do that.
Are you involved? Is Formula One part of your membership? Are they in? And what do you do for a racing series or racing in general?
So, you know, IndyCar, NASCAR are heavily involved and support the ICMS. And by that, what I mean is they send their safety teams, their traveling safety teams, because they both have that core group that travels to every event. They send them to our annual Congress, because at the Congress is where you have presenters presenting their latest research and really results of that research, whether it's brain injury, spine injury, how to put out a fire quicker, proper removal of an injured driver with a spine injury, all those different things that the safety teams of the larger national sanctioning organizations have. You know, this is where we struggle with the grassroots racers, because they don't have that core group. I'm working on some ideas how we might be able to help educate those EMTs that are working at that local short track on a weekly basis. But FIA is also involved with us, which is the international group that works with F1 quite a bit. So we do have an affiliation with FIA. They have members of their organization come to our annual Congress. We have members of our group go to their annual meetings. Dr. Rob Seal, who is our chairman of our board, he's actually an anesthesiologist out of Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Dr. Seal is heavily involved with FIA and Formula One. They actually want him to be more involved. So again, there's definitely a connection between us and the FIA. And I think there's even room for more. That's just, again, part of what I get excited about, is all this opportunity to expand what we're doing.
You know, it's amazing that you know, things that people don't, they just, oh, really? They did what? They're trying to save who? How?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, there's so much behind the scenes that have allowed drivers to have what could be considered horrific crashes, and they walk away or limp away, but they get out anyway.
Absolutely. I look like the AMR medical team. That is the team that's sponsored by AMR, one of our members. You know, that is who does IndyCar and does NASCAR. And you look at the safety crews of those two racing sanctioning bodies, it is amazing how they're able to extradite and just protect their drivers. NASCAR is heavily involved with this, as is IndyCar, in the R&D, the research and development of safety components. And they work with our scientists, our medical personnel in conjunction, and what's this study show and what's this study show? How can we make something better? I still look at Ryan Newman's crash from Daytona. Don, I shake my head. You and I have been down in Daytona. Oh, yeah. I shake my head and say, how did he walk away from that?
You're right. You're right. And he's back racing again. And he's
back racing again. I mean, it just, you know, I don't know 5-10 years ago if that would have been the case, the result. That's amazing.
Oh, I agree with you. After you think of what happened to Dale Earnhardt when it was proved he really didn't hit the wall that hard, but it cost him his life. Today, he probably would have gotten out and said, oh, heck, or something like that.
Right, or something.
How do you use social media? I know that's part of your program, but how do you use it? Do you put it out for the public to read, for race fans? You know, how is it used?
It's amazing to me. You know, we're a 30, you know, almost 2-year-old organization, and there's still very little awareness, I guess, of who we are, what we do, and why we do it. And I think a lot of that just has to do with the group that are the members that we have. Doctors, for example, they're not big on Twitter. You got HIPAA, so they can't really share the great things they're doing for a patient. They're too busy when they're at the racetrack to push stuff out on social media. But I look at LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook. Those are great platforms that I can utilize capturing information from our members. They'll send me the information. I'll push it out. And I think it will help educate the general racing community and those involved in that racing community, which hopefully is the medical personnel at the tracks, on who we are, what we do, and why we do it, which then hopefully will lead to a potential member of the ICMS, which is ultimately what I'm challenged to do, is ramp up membership. So I really do expect to use as many social media platforms as we can just to promote the ICMS, who we are, what we do, why we do it. And I'm hoping down the road, especially on, say, LinkedIn, that's one that I'm heavily in. I do a lot on LinkedIn. I looked at probably over 2/3 of our board members are not on LinkedIn. I'm challenging them to create a LinkedIn profile. So a doctor in Germany sees on our website that Dr. Terry Trammell is one of my board members. He can click on Terry's profile on LinkedIn and learn what he's done and say, you know what, I'd like to have a conversation with Dr. Trammell about this situation he's dealing with over in Germany. So I think, again, that's how social media can help us connect with people globally. And I'm hoping that our board members are willing to get involved and utilize the social media platforms that are out there. And you can't beat the price.
That's true.
That's why I can't beat the price.
When they hire you, they get the whole schmear. It's all part of the package.
I told him that when I interviewed for the position. I'm sure you got a lot of great candidates, but I run a membership-based association in motorsports. I co-owned and operated a trade show that had every motorsport safety product manufacturer involved. I want us to get much more involved with their scientists and engineers at the safety product companies, so they're working hand in hand with our medical professionals, and we're sharing that information. Really, it does go back to that again, Don. We have all this knowledge in our heads. I need these experts to share and push that information out to the motorsports industry, and not just drivers, at track staff, personnel, and safety teams, owners, sanctioning body series, representatives, and the medical professionals. You look at when some of the other, Brian Clausen, Jason Leffler, we lost some great young drivers from sprint car accidents and midget accidents. And you sit there and say, okay, how could we have helped that medical team? Is there anything we could have, the knowledge we have, could we have pushed that out to that medical team in Iowa or New Jersey to help them treat those guys? Tony Stewart, when Tony got injured, the doctors that were involved in his quick care at the track, or the EMTs, they've been involved in the ICMS. And again, I like to think that knowledge that we're sharing amongst each other hopefully help Tony save his, have his life saved.
I know another guy who was upset about safety, and when Dave Steele lost his life, he went crazy about it because it was so easy to solve it wouldn't have happened. That's Bill Simpson,
right?
A guy who spent his entire life in safety, and if there was a way, he had an idea how to help it, and
that's right.
He contacted people. A lot of the series says, "What has it got to do with you?" Nothing. But the guy who died, that's who I'm talking about. So
that's right.
What got you into the safety? You're in sales. You're a business, guide. Help bring sponsors and notoriety. So how in the world did you get into the safety division?
My first job in racing, as we said, was at IRP. My first U.S. Nationals, we lost two drivers, Elmer Trent and Blaine Johnson, during the U.S. Nationals.
Yep.
And those are just things you don't forget. Those are truly incidents in my very first U.S. Nationals working for the NHRA that you just don't forget. And then as my career really navigated through motorsports, and I was sitting with Murph McKinney from McKinney Corporation up in Lafayette, Al Lowe from AD Motorsport Products, Mike Long, who was at Equal Chassis at the time, he's with DeWitt Radiator now. The four of us were sitting together having lunch one day, and Murph just said, you know what, guys, I'm absolutely sick and tired of everybody talking about how fed up they are and how frustrated they are about we keep losing our favorite drivers. We keep losing good people. When is somebody going to do something about it? And the four of us just said, well, let's start. Let's lead by example. And we created the Motorsports Safety Education Foundation. And it, took us a while to get that going. We spent a lot of our own money. I'll just say 6 figures that we put in of our own money. We got some support from the Smith family from Speedway Motors out in Lincoln, Nebraska. And we created some great online curriculum for racers on how to really protect themselves and why head and neck restraint systems are so important and how they work and why you, if you're involved in an accident and your helmet's taken a direct blow or you dropped it and your helmet took a bounced off the concrete, why you shouldn't use that till it gets inspected again by, a sanctioning body or the SFI. And again, what we found was we created great educational content. We struggled finding sanctioning bodies and tracks who were willing to really engage their racers and mandate that they actually watch these safety videos because they didn't want to take that liability on. We chased that for 5 years trying to make it work. And we kept throwing our own money in. And we would travel around the country going to events. I went to Paris Speedway with Mike and, out in Southern California, just so we could sit down and talk to a bunch of sprint car racers from the West Coast. Don, again, you just get tired of people talking about the David Steeles, and the Jason Lefflers and all the other great ones we lost. Damn it, do something about it. And so that's what we tried. That's still where my passion comes from. I think this role with the ICMS allows me to really take all the ingredients of my experience and resume, mix them together, and it makes a perfect cookie. I really do feel that I can utilize all the skills I've learned from all my other positions and roles, and it's going to help me make the ICMS even bigger and better. Will
this position require you to travel a lot? Will you be going to various venues and races around the country?
I'll go to as many as I can, probably more drive to as much as anything, just because financially we're a not-for-profit, totally supported through membership and some sponsorship. I have been contacted by about 7 or 8 people that were involved in IMUS back when we had the trade show who said, hey, man, glad to see you got this role. How can my company get involved? What kind of money do you need? So that's encouraging that we're seeing some people respond or react to me getting in this role. I look forward to working with those companies and doing more with them. Drew Patey at Safety Clean, first one to call me. I mean, within 5 minutes of a press release going out, he calls me and says, how can we get involved and how much money do you need? Well, how much does it cost me to get involved? And I said, how much money you got? I'm going to flip it the other way.
I could use a pay raise. How much money you got?
So again, that's what I love is people like Drew who called up and saying Safety Clean wants to be involved with the ICMS. We're involved with racetracks all over the country. How can we be a part of it? Hey, did you know Safety Clean's doing the at-track cleaning right now? So NASCAR and IndyCar can host events at, Darlington and Daytona and Talladega and, Texas. I said, no, I didn't know that. So he sent me a whole presentation on what they're doing at the track, really disinfecting the track. And, it is amazing. And he's like, hey, it's part of safety. We're keeping the fans safe, the crew safe, the driver safe, the officials safe. We should be involved with you guys. I'm like, you know what? You're right. That's not even an area I had thought about, but he brought that idea to me and I love it. We're going to run with it. We're going to get involved with Safety Clean even more.
As long as I've known you, there's never been a time where first off, you didn't say hi and have a big smile. How you doing? And, you talk the talk, but you also walk the walk. When you say, I'm going to go and this is my idea, I'm going to do this, by golly, you do it. And 9 out of 10 times you're successful at it because people know when you say something, it's worth listening to and you give them what they're after and what you say you will.
I appreciate that. And I think honestly though, Don, I still utilize my mentors a lot. Mike Lewis, I mentioned earlier, Mike's a mentor. I speak to him often still, just checking in. If I have an idea that has something to do maybe with a team or something, any way, shape or form, whether sponsorship, client services, whether it's a marketing idea, whether it's something on safety, I'll go to Mike and say, hey, Mike, what do you think of this? Kerry Agajanian's another one. Kerry, geez, I think he's like you. One of the very first people I met at IRP came up and introduced himself and said, hey, I've known Bob Daniels for 100 years, and I look forward to talking, working with you and seeing what you can do with this place. Again, I've stayed in I believe in treat people the way you want to be treated, never burn a bridge. I can still call Tony George or Doug Bowles, and Doug's in a position I can go to Doug and say, Doug, I got an idea, or what do you think about this? And Doug will listen and give me good, honest feedback. So before I take it to market, I guess you'd say, I think I've already baked the idea a little bit with some of the folks in the industry that I respect and get their feedback.
Do you find, and you mentioned earlier that you approached series when you first started the IMAs, do track owners and series promoters and series listen to what you have to offer for the safety of not only themselves, but of their participants?
Some do. When we started the Motorsports Safety Education Foundation, the very first track that contacted us and started mandating that every racer, new racer or under the age of 18, they all had to go through our online curriculum, was a small track out of the state of New York. And again, I never even heard of this track. I had to get Tim Frost's National Speedway Directory book out and even try to see where it was at. I had no idea. Little bull ring, and they used this for 3 years, and until we really shut it down. I'd say the bigger tracks and the bigger sanctioning bodies, yeah, Don, they invest in safety and are always looking to improve safety for their drivers, their crew members, people in the garage and pit area. I think this is what differentiates the small weekly racers at grassroots group. They don't have the money to invest in an R&D safety center like NASCAR does. And they don't have the money to hire some of the top doctors to travel race to race like IndyCar does. So it's harder for that weekly series or that local short track to invest or accept some of what we'll take to them. This is, again, a way I want to go to the safety industry, the safety manufacturers, and say, hey, I'll be your spokesperson. I'll be your cheerleader. I'll go to the short tracks. I'll go to the drivers' meetings. But I need you to be a member. I need you to cover my, just be engaged with us so I can go out and continue to promote why the ICMS continues to always work on the science of motorsports and what can we do to make it safer and better.
Do you do anything about the fans? Do you guys look at things that could cause
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So actually, I don't have the name right off the top of my head. I apologize. We have a member out of France which has worked on the catch fence that has been used now over in Europe the last several years. I believe almost every F1 facility is utilizing their catch fence, and that technology is now being introduced to the sanctioning bodies and tracks over here in the States. Again, because of it as a member, through a membership, it's that networking a lot of times, right? Back when I had the IMA, if you remember, we used to have luncheons and as many networking events as we could. And I want to do more of those. It's just kind of hard right now with the pandemic. But yeah, so we actually have scientists and engineers that are members that are always working on the safety side of this, whether it's a safer barrier, whether it's catch fence, whatever it may be. But absolutely, fan protection has got to be a big part of it. And that's what Safety Clean's working on too, DK, is they're going in and sterilizing racetracks. Think about that, a track the size of Talladega, 2.6 miles, and the grandstands and the garage area, even though they didn't have fans throughout those stands, they still, ISC, NASCAR, France family, They brought them in and sterilized that whole facility inside and out. I believe they're scheduled to do the Indianapolis Motor Speedway anytime now before the July 4th weekend doubleheader. And again, they'll come in and sterilize the garage area, everything where somebody might touch it.
Oh, boy. You know, and when you think about safety for drivers and fans, because obviously when cars used to hit the wall, parts and pieces would fly.
Mm-hmm.
But the effort that Tony George put together to get that safer barrier. Now, when it first came out, they said it was a soft barrier. We got out to see it. They invited a group of media, and I somehow got invited. And I'm looking at this thing, and I ran up and hit it. And I went, geez, this is not soft.
No.
But when you hit it 180 miles an hour, it is soft then.
Yeah, and again, you know, it absorbs the energy of the car, which is critical and cushioning that below that the driver is going to take on. So it has been a godsend. What the Holman George family did with the University of Nebraska in creating that still might be one of the greatest safety futures in all of motorsports.
No question about it. You know, it's interesting, the aspects. A lot of people think, well, race cars, you know, you roll it off a trailer, you bring it in, you polish it up a little bit, put some fuel in it, and push the guy off, and away you go.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that when I first came here in 1962. I thought, well, hell, they just put the cars on the trailer. Oh, really?
Yeah.
I spent the first time I was here and started working with the team, I found out 20 hours a day was a pretty short day.
Yeah.
Geez, Louise, all the work you go through these cars to go 2.5 miles? What are you kidding?
Yeah.
It's amazing the effort and the thought from people like yourself looking at now these guys are running, they're running faster everywhere. How can we protect them and protect the fan? It's a big job when you think about it.
It is. And I tell you, to me, we look at, as you said, you came back here in the 60s and the first time you experienced it. I look at Indiana Midget Week for the USAC guys and, you know, Sprint Week later in the summer. And then you look at it in Pennsylvania with, you know, their Pennsylvania posse, a big challenge out there. They're doing it 7 races in 8 nights, 6 races in 7 nights. And if they tear it up, a lot of those teams don't have backup cars. They fix it. They stay up all night, fix it in the parking lot of the hotel or grocery store, where, you know, Walmart, wherever they pull into, Kroger, put it back in, and they go to the next race. I mean, it truly is amazing to me how far we've come when it comes to safety. But I think our members would tell you, again, we have a lot of scientists and engineers that are involved with us, and they're directly tied to sanctioning bodies. And I will say that I think there's still a lot more we're going to get done. And I'm excited to kind of lead this group, and hopefully we can have success in introducing more safety to our industry, because that should always be first. You know, and you've heard me say this before, race car drivers, owners, first thing they always want to do, if they got $500 left in their pocket, they're going to spend the money to go faster and try to win the race. Always go faster. It's never about safety. They're not going to spend the last $500 on safety. It's to go faster. And that, you know, that mentality, at some point, they've got to also put safety right up there at the same importance, if not higher, than going faster.
And that's where getting the drivers involved comes in, when the guy says, whoa, you know, I can go fast, that's fine, but I'm in the car.
Yeah. I feel it doing this, and you don't. I feel it. And, you know, again, that's where the crew members and the engineers from those teams have to listen to what the driver's given feedback-wise, so they know what changes to make that car safer, and so that driver's more comfortable in it as they push it to the limits.
One last question. When taking this job, you had to have a million thoughts probably in mind of what can happen and where it can go and so forth. But what was the first thing in your mind when they said you got the job? What is the first thing you wanted to do?
Very first thing I probably did was say, when can I get all the documents, the history. I actually flew down to Texas. Probably wasn't going to tell my wife last week, but I figured she'd realize when I wasn't in bed that I didn't make it home. So I flew down to Fort Worth, to Denton, Texas, just north of the Texas Motor Speedway last Thursday. Spent the day with Don Andrews, our retiring executive director after 8+ years. And I went down with 2 empty suitcases. And I will tell you, I came back with 2 completely full suitcases at 49.7 pounds each. And I had 32 years history of the ICMS in those suitcases. We got to get it to where it's more digital. We got to start utilizing, again, technology in the cloud and putting information up there. But I've been chomping at the bit waiting for these guys to call. I've been making a list of things that I thought we could do to implement to make this even bigger and better. And as soon as Dr. Seal called and said, hey, I'm going to send you a contract, can you sign it and send it back? I said, absolutely. And I'm going to send you kind of my game plan for the next 60, 90, 120, 6 months, and 12 months that we're going to be working on. And let's get going.
Well, in my humble opinion, they could not have found a better guy, a more dedicated guy, or anybody who cared more than you. And I think it's great. As soon as I saw this, Tom Blattler put it out, and I grabbed it right away, and bingo, I got to call you. Unfortunately for you, I've still got your number. I called you up, and you said absolutely. So I sent a note to Tom Blattler and said I got Tom scheduled for Friday, and he said great. So he'll promote the hell out of it in your PR, whatever it is he does for you.
He's a friend, right? He's one of those guys, Don, that you and I have just made friends with over the years. And I said, hey, how much will you charge me to do a press release for me? ICMS really needs to get better at pushing information out. He says, shit, T-Bach, you're a friend. I'm not going to charge you. Let's go.
There you go.
Tell me tell me the information. Give me the details. And the response has been overwhelming, absolutely phenomenal. Yourself with your show with Autosport and Inside Indiana Business with Gary Dick, but really Autosport over in England and PRI picked it up, and the Speed Sport News picked it up, and Racer Magazine and National Dragster. It's been great, the response. Now it's time to get after it and make things happen.
When I saw it in Racer, I said, Tom's got it made. He's made it to the top. Well, listen, I'm very pleased for you because I know it's something that you are very serious about. And I think you mentioned that one of the board members is Dr. Terry Trammell.
Yep. For
people who don't know, I mean, the racing people know who he is, an orthopedic surgeon. He has done things that have never been done. And when he crossed his mind, let me try, can I do this? He'd call his professors who were, they said, it's never been done, but I don't see why it won't work. So he did it, and it worked. Yeah. He has done some phenomenal things with putting drivers back together when in years gone by, they'd have been done.
Terry and his co-workers, his team, through the years at Methodist and Ortho, they have worked on drivers from all over the world. I mean, Formula One drivers who got hurt would fly here to have Dr. Trammell's team fix them.
Right. That's right.
I mean, it's incredible who all they've worked on and what they've accomplished, and truly have saved people's lives and changed them for the better. But yeah, Dr. Trammell is one of the founding board members, along with Dr. Steve Olvey, who between those two, they're around Champ Car, IndyCar for the last 35 years as team, docs at the track. Couldn't ask for a better group of doctors.
You're not kidding. And a lot of the guys that got leg injuries, they put them back together. And if you didn't know they were hurt, you'd never, they don't hobble around, they walk around. Like Davey Hamilton, for instance.
Absolutely.
You didn't know something happened to him. Listen, Tom, I wish you nothing but the best. You can be assured, since unfortunately for you, you're going to be headquartered here. One of these days down the road, I will haul you in, perhaps after the season, and see, how things are going.
Look forward to it.
Thanks for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Donnie. Appreciate it. Have a great day.
My guest is Tom Weisenbach, the newly named Executive Director of the International Council of Motorsports Sciences. We have another couple of people in line for the upcoming days and weeks. Probably won't be any more until next week. We're doing this on Friday, the 26th? 26th. It will air in a day or so. And we have some other people going. So stick around, watch for us. We try and get people that we normally can't catch it, because there are other commitments. So the Zoom thing has worked out really well for us. So stick around. Thanks for watching. Look for us again. Until next time, Don Kane saying thanks for watching. See you again.